Baby, the way you wear your pain on your exterior like badges of honor is nothing short of just beautiful. I love it. I fucking love it. You wear your pain like a mink coat in the summertime. I think it's a little uncomfortable, and I think everyone's really confused. But babe, you look glamorous as fuck, okay? Walk like, talk like, smell like money. You don't operate in shame. You don't operate in worrying about your skeleton in the closet. Yeah, what you do is you take them out and you display them after you've polished them and put some little glitter on top, and you dress them up with little mink coats and bows and whatnot. You don't care about what anybody has to say about you because you didn't put yourself through the things that people did to you, so you won't carry their shame for them and you won't do their work for them. You're going to put them on display. If somebody hits your car, you just frame the scratch and the dent of the car that hit you. It's your mark, your badge of honor. You heal it, sure, but you don't operate in shame and you don't hide what's hurt you. And you also accept what you've done to others and what you've had to grow through and go through and learn. You wear it so beautifully. You really do. Yeah, absolutely. January 10th could be significant. October 1st could be significant. We have Aquarius energy and Libra energy. Absolutely. You maybe have been around a lot of people who don't necessarily do the work. You have gone through this entire process of breaking down who you are, what you've been through, what people have put you through, what you've put people through, what you've learned, what you haven't learned, what you've avoided, what you've accepted. You've quite literally done it so gracefully and so beautifully. And you're very, very honest and very clear about what you've been through and what's happening right now. You don't operate in being fearful of what others think of you. That's not your thing. You've been in connection with a lot of people who you do love and you do care about. This could be family, this could be friends, this could be people who you've been romantically involved with, or just acquaintances in general, co-workers, neighbors, whatever the case may be. These are people that you were bonded with at one point, but not anymore. They definitely broke your heart. I do see somebody's mother here on the board as well that caused a huge tower moment in your life. My God. Leo energy on the board as well. Somebody who maybe was emotionally unavailable and very stubborn, maybe kind of just held on so tightly to their version of whatever the fuck they thought, however they operated. They weren't really willing to change. They just wanted to sit around and act like everything was okay. Leo again on the board. These individuals that you were in connection with maybe are too fearful to close out cycles. They sort of leave things lingering. They don't finish out what they started. They don't necessarily give anyone closure or themselves closure. If there was a situation that were to occur once or a million times, whatever the case may be, they don't necessarily do the work to end it. Connections that maybe fell apart, or things that they've done or things that they've been through, they don't necessarily want to face them or talk about them or deal with them. July 3rd and March 7th could be significant. They don't fully retreat from it, nor do they address it. So it sort of lingers in their aura, it lingers in their energy, it lingers around them, the unfinished business, the restlessness, the unhealed energy. And it does play a part in everything that they do. They won't put it down, they won't pick it up, they won't look at it. They just kind of carry it everywhere with them unwillingly. So they balance, they play this weird balancing act, and you feel that energy. You're very much so in tune with people's energies and sort of their aura and what's around them and kind of what comes with that. And as well as they think they're hiding it, they're not. You can feel that dishonesty that they have with themselves and others, with their self and others. And you kind of can see and kind of tell that they just carry on their back a whole bunch of restless, unfinished cycles. They don't close out anything and they don't deal with it either. It just lingers and they just drag it with them like a boulder up a hill with flip-flops in the rain, like a mudslide, on stilts. It makes everything they do 10 times harder, a million times harder, and they won't come to terms with it. What boulder? What are you talking about? As they're sitting there carrying the fucking boulder, we all have to just act like we don't see this big boulder, but they're playing this weird balancing act where they have on a mask, or they think they do, but it's very obvious to you what's happening here. They just don't want to deal with the work. They don't want to face what they've been through, and so it just tends to be quite heavy energy around them. But you've done the work. You don't play happy, positive, optimistic all the time. You're very realistic. You do approach things in a very realistic way, and you're very honest about what's going on, and you like to say it out loud. It doesn't mean that you are negative. It doesn't mean you're dwelling on it. It doesn't mean anything like that. It means you have feelings and you're speaking on them. And it also means you're trying to work toward a resolution. Okay? Yeah, it's uncomfortable to talk about it. Okay? But you have to talk about it because you're not going to carry it with you. You didn't do it to yourself, or you didn't do it alone. Okay? Period. If you did, you can talk about that too. Somebody's got to hear about it. Somebody's got to hear about it. They've got to come to terms with the truth the way you do. And once you release that truth, it just makes everything more comfortable for you. Other people don't necessarily like it. They don't understand why you're wearing a mink coat in the summertime. But baby, you look good. You look damn good. Once again, 2 of Cups, 2 rounds already, bottom of the deck. Lots of broken connections here. You've done the work. You've done the work. You've done the work. You've done the work. You've done the work that nobody else will do. You've talked about the things that nobody else wants to talk about. You've faced that shit. You've made eye contact with your own demons. Okay? You look that shit straight in the eyes like, look here, this is what we're going to do. This is how I got you. This is how I'm going to get rid of you. Or I might keep you and sick you on a bitch next time I need you. But nonetheless, you're trained. You're around a whole bunch of people, or you grew up with, or you were surrounded by, involved with, connected to a whole bunch of people that refused to decide to do the work, to do the inner healing, to change their life, to level up. They refuse to make soul level decisions. They think if they avoid it for long enough, Gemini energy on the board, they think if they avoid it for long enough that everything will be just fine. They don't want to look at it, but they're carrying it everywhere they go and expecting nobody to see it. They live in this sort of constant state of agony, and it doesn't even feel like agony anymore because it's kind of like a dull pain because it's just there. It just lingers. It's not attacking constantly, and it's not gone. It's just there. They don't even realize how miserable they really are. They don't realize how anxious they really are. They don't realize how unwell and unrested their minds, spirits, and souls are because it's just who they are now because they just don't address shit. High Priestess, you intuitively know this, that people kind of want to keep secrets or say things that aren't necessarily true, or to cover up what they truly feel, or don't say things that are honest, or don't say the full truth. They sort of omit a lot of pieces of information. My throat chakra, as I'm saying that, you intuitively know, and you don't have to speak on everything. You feel it. You don't have to address it because you know sometimes it's not worth addressing. But like I said, you've done the work. You have closed out these cycles. You have ended those cycles. You have done the work and finished the cycle. You completed it. You don't leave unfinished business lingering around. If there's something that needs to be addressed, you address it. You don't avoid it. It's not about confrontation. We say that people fear confrontation. This is just a conversation that needs to be had of stating the obvious so that we can move the fuck around. And that's with a lot of things. You have created a very positive future for yourself. You exude hope and positivity. There is going to be a lot of blessings coming in your way. You're very connected to source, and you definitely carry an aura of healing energy around you. You do heal others, and when people are ready to receive the healing, you are ready to assist and help them close out those cycles and help them kind of heal from what they've been through. And as we know, just because we do things to ourselves or we do things to others, it does not make it any less complicated or painful to deal with. Right? When people do things to us, it's really easy to say, oh, well, they did it, so I got to heal. But nonetheless, you're still having to heal. If anything, the things that you've done to yourself or others, you have to admit out loud, and you can't blame it on anyone else. And that can be uncomfortable too, but you still do that work too. And you help others. You don't hold grudges. You don't do that. You're ready to talk about whatever they're ready to talk about when they're ready to talk about it. You've already come to terms with it. You're just waiting on them to catch up, if they ever do. But you're not going to sit around and wait. You've got to continue on. The Fool. You've had to leave a lot of situations. You've had to put an end to a lot of situations. A lot of people who wanted to maybe do a lot of slick shit, fast communication, or whatever the case may be. A lot of fast action, confusing energy. Maybe trying to distract you or make you feel confused or whatever the case may be. You've put a stop to that. You don't do that. You don't operate in confusion. You operate in clarity. And if you can't get clarity on the situation around you, you're going to move around, and you're going to do so quickly this time and every time after that. Because you've learned that the longer you sit around and try to figure it all out, you're just wasting time, and it's not a good idea to do that. Because you've learned that if they don't want to heal, they don't want to speak about it, they don't want to address what they've shoved under the rug for years, the elephant in the room, everyone's going to sit there just fine, and you're not fine with that. You're not going to be around manipulative people who pretend to support you but don't support you at all. They actually want to sabotage you and see you lose because they're miserable. And you understand that when they don't address the truthful things, the things that they need to work through, it makes them miserable and it makes them hate you for being happy. And you can't be around people that are not happy because they won't want you to be happy. And they'll think that you being happy is definitely a problem. I like how right now I see 9 of Cups, which is you being happy. And then all of these broken connections, 2 of Cups. Yet again, it breaks the bonds. They kind of always will wonder why you are the way you are. You're that way because you're a survivor and you're a fucking boss. 10/16 and 10/17 could be significant. October 16th and 17th, Libra season coming through very strong. These are people who avoid making decisions. They avoid looking at things. They avoid making the choice that they know they need to make in order to move forward. So they just dwell in whatever that is. They just sit on the fence. But what they don't understand is not making the decision is the decision. Not choosing is the choice. You know, High Priestess energy. You will always listen to your intuition. You will always understand that you have a level of discernment and intuitive abilities that far exceeds anything that these people could even understand. They come off as quite naive to you. You're constantly having to kind of create these fresh starts for yourself because every environment that you've been in so far has really been just not up to par. You can't put these two together because it just doesn't make sense when people are walking around being naive and reckless and foolish and kind of just stupid. And you're sitting there poised and graceful and full of knowledge, and you can't get down with that shit with a whole bunch of miserable, foolish, naive people. Reckless, you know. Now, if they were to go ahead and decide and put the work in, then you'd be able to work with them. It's not about being better or worse than them. It's just about they suck. They drop the ball every time. They can't carry 2 things. They can't carry their pain and their fake happiness at the same time. It just blends together and comes out as misery. That's the truth. That is the God's honest truth. Give me some closing messages, please, Spirit. Shit. We have got the Sun, Leo energy again, and 4 of Cups, Cancer at the bottom of the deck. This is definitely people who see your light and it offends them. They see kind of what exudes from your pores, which is happiness. And I do see this 2 of Cups peeking out at the bottom of the deck. You will find people that are more in alignment with you, that are more your spirit animals and your soul tribe, and people who you're supposed to be in connection with, who your soul is in alignment with, especially since you've done the work. Maybe back then you could relate to low vibrational people, but now that you've sort of put the effort in, you realize that they aren't accepting of help and they'd rather just sit there and wallow in their misery, and you just can't be a part of that. You don't want to be a clown, so you don't join the circus. Yeah. They are very disconnected and ungrateful, and they lack the ability to face things, and it makes them miserable and ungrateful and disconnected. They sort of choose to disassociate. They don't like your light, so they pretend not to see it. They don't treat you like you have a light. And if they do, it's because they want to take it from you and drain it. It offends them. It's too bright for them. That's the truth. You have mental clarity. You're a truth teller, and people don't like that. You can't create positive environments and happy homes with people like that. It will always be stagnancy in the energy. They don't put the work in. As a matter of fact, they actively avoid it. They kind of maybe think just because they're stupid and lazy that you have to be stupid and lazy, but that's just how it comes off. They really are just unhealed and scared to change. No one's ever taught them how to heal. And even though you try to teach them how to heal, it's just too overwhelming for them. They don't know how to make a choice. They don't know how to work together as a team to get the results that are needed. So they'd rather maybe just operate in comfort while they're uncomfortable. So self-centered. Newsflash, the world doesn't revolve around you. You're not the center of anyone's universe. And the sooner you get a grasp on this, the better you will be. I think you've learned not to take things so personal. It doesn't have anything to do with you. Even if it feels personal, you understand. You're not self-centered. You can say, I can separate these 2 things. Their inability to want to heal has nothing to do with me. Even if they're mistreating me, I can understand that it's not my problem. I can understand that I've done what I've had to do or offered what I could offer, and it's just not... It's not working, and I'm not going to take it personal. November 14th could be significant. Life Path 11, the 14th of the month, the 26th of the month, the 25th of the month. Dark night of the soul. Yeah, they're currently going through sort of a lot of misery and depression and just kind of feeling like their whole world is ending, but it's kind of made them bitter. They haven't necessarily put the work in to learn the lesson, so they maybe will just sit in that energy. My God, lots of lessons here. unique at the bottom of the deck. You've seen this personality time and time again. It's not really all that different anymore. It's not that exciting. They all kind of do the same thing. It's giving NPC vibes. Empowered. Be empowered today to take back control of your own life and your own destiny. You can't sit around with those people. I mean that. You can't sit around with those people. You can't sit around with those people. Life path 7, life path 5, the 15th of the month, the 12th of the month. Self-care. Self-care is not about being selfish. You're just investing in you. You need to. That's what you're doing now. That's the path that you're on. That's absolutely the path that you're on. Intuition in reverse. They don't listen to their intuition the way that you do, and maybe at one point you didn't listen to your own intuition, but you've learned. Always trust your gut. The universe is constantly speaking to us. Will you choose to listen? You listen now. You don't ignore that voice inside of you anymore, because that's your higher self telling you, hey, we've been through this before. This looks familiar. This is how you're going to get through this. And you just kind of maybe have tried to show other people how to listen to their own intuition, but they don't. Responsibility. This is in reverse. They don't take responsibility for their actions. Maturity begins when you can take responsibility for your own actions. It's giving arrested development, Peter Pan syndrome. Lack of accountability, victim mindset, learned helplessness. No in reverse. Maybe at one point you were in a people-pleasing state. No is a word we all need to use more often and stand on it. We also need to accept and receive that as a right of others. That's the truth. Maybe you at one point didn't know how to say no to people. Maybe you did bring them along, or maybe you did stay around them or stay in those environments to maybe make them feel comfortable, or maybe you were scared to address things, but you're not there anymore. I'll tell you that. Baggage. Resist being weighed down by the guilt and shame of the past. My God, thank you, Spirit. The past is exactly what it is, the past. Unpack and begin healing. Start life anew and stop dragging the old into the new. Thank you, Spirit. If that reading was in one card, it's your time to shine and be all the Creator has created you to be. That's what you're doing now. You don't operate in sadness or wallowing in self-misery or self-pity. You don't sit there in a victim mindset wondering what's happened and what's going on. You know what's happened and you know how to fix it. And you do just that, and you move forward to the next thing, to make the next mistake, to be around the next terrible person, to do the wrong thing, to have someone do you wrong, or you do somebody else wrong, and you hit from it quicker every single time. Every single time. It's just what you do. It's just what you do. Let's get some zodiac signs and we'll go ahead and close this reading out. You've gotten really good at this. You've learned not to sit around and wait anymore, because you know exactly how it's going to go. You do. They always act so surprised. I see Libra, double Libra, Libra boss and Libra romantic partner. My God. Maybe that's just about life needing to balance out the scales. Let's go ahead and see here. Let's get 4. Do I feel 4? I almost said 6, then I said 3, then 4. So we'll see what comes out. No more than 6, that's for sure, but maybe 3 or 4. Libra is for sure going to be one of them. That was very clear. 2 at the top. None, just Libra. Okay, cool. Capricorn at the bottom. Leo friend when I split the deck. This is how they address their problems. They just don't want to be seen. They don't want to deal with it. Leo co-worker. Gemini friend in reverse, and Capricorn romantic partner. Split the deck to Aquarius boss. Doesn't have to be boss, romantic partner, friend. Just those zodiac signs. But the Gemini is in reverse and kind of trying to hide a little bit. Could be a very unhealed Gemini around you. My God, I mean, they don't want to talk at all. Shit. Look at this one peeking out. Like, do you see me? Do you not see me? Libra. Libra parent. So Libra 3 times. Leo, Gemini, Capricorn. I'm going to add an Aquarius just because I did split the deck. What's at the bottom here? Aquarius again. Yeah, I would say those are definitely the zodiac signs. And Aquarius again. Yeah, could be a parent, could have a kid. Nonetheless, we'll go ahead and end it there. What does this say? Oddball out. You don't fit in your family or your environment. Interesting. That's funny. All right, guys. Best of luck.